Hi, I'm John Pulo, Managing Editor of Cigar Advisor. And I got a comment on one of my Cigar Advisor articles from Andrew in Farmington, Connecticut, who wondered about the taste differences in different tobaccos. See, sometimes you'll see us write Dominican cigars, Nicaraguan cigars, and when we say that, we're trying to give you an idea of how the cigar tastes based on what you might already know generally about Dominican or Nicaraguan tobacco. And to get a little more confusing, you'll also see terms like Ecuadorian Connecticut, Indonesian Sumatra, or Nicaraguan Habano. That's first telling you in which country the tobacco was grown, and second, what country was the source of the seed that was used. But think of it all as shorthand. The tobacco's country of origin helps to describe the flavors you'd expect to find in the cigar. Most of the time, because there are always exceptions. Let's take Dominican tobacco. Typically it tends to be smooth, silky, and refined, like Monte Cristo or Fuente, but not all Dominican tobacco is the same. Aging room cigars and Opus X tend to be very full and strong. Nicaraguan tobaccos are usually stronger, spicier, and more intense. Perdomo, Padron, and Drew Estate fit that profile. Again, there's some variation, as the four growing regions in Nicaragua produce very different tastes. The leaf grown in Esteli is very potent, very strong. Ometepe is the opposite, having a natural sweetness. On the whole, Honduran tobacco tends to be earthy, as evidenced by many of Rocky Patel's cigars, for instance. Mexican tobacco, which is used primarily in binders and wrappers, like in the case of the San Andre Maduro and Oliva Serie V or an Undercrown, is earthy like Honduran, but somewhat sweeter. Brazilian tobaccos, they're usually toasty and extra rich. Most often it's used for binder or for wrapper. Think like the Arapiraca or Matafina that goes on the outside of something like Sao Brasilia or Brick House. If you ever see Ecuadorian tobacco in the mix, expect a little bit of spice to be put into the taste. Costa Rican tobacco, that's very nutty. Peruvian leaf, very rich, and it's used very sparingly. And then there's Jamaican tobacco, which is very mild and very sweet. American tobacco, it varies widely. Connecticut shade, as you know, is very smooth, light, and buttery, while Connecticut broadleaf and Pennsylvania tobaccos, they're toasty, very earthy, and intense, exactly the opposite. Again, it's not perfect because taste can vary from region to region within the same country, but it's easier to recommend cigars or distill the typical taste of certain cigars by talking generally about the tobaccos inside.